see what choice they had. When you see the market realities, they don't lie. As I said, Mamlaka al-Sar is not going to get what they want. They're looking to have the quote-unquote oil price in a sustained manner over so-called $100 in worthless fiat per barrel. At this time of the earth year, as a rule, it would generally be there. However, realities have changed. You've got 12 million plus EVs being used across the planet and counting and growing. That means oil demand is down. That's a hard reality. So it is true that a lot of the quote unquote jobs were in the hospitality arena in the foreign jurisdiction. They anticipate folks doing a lot of traveling, and some of that will be via land vessel. I'm just not sure there's going to be enough to see a swing in the quote unquote oil price to 100 a barrel or over, and if it is, it won't be there for very long. I suspect it might get into the 80 range per worthless fiat per barrel, maybe a little bit higher, at least for a little while. But that remains to be seen. That will be predicated upon whether or not it's a blazing hot summer in the North-Amexem. If it is, folks may very well do some traveling to go to beaches. Folks may very well do some traveling and stay in hotels. And they may spend some funds in restaurants. And yes, they will burn fuel to get to all those places. Fair enough. However, I'm not sure about particular details with that. It's then called discretionary spending for households. And parties in the foreign venue have to start repaying on their student loans again, which decreases the amount that they have available for discretionary spending. So they might not be able to have those funds to do the traveling, or travel very far, or go to the restaurants, or the museums and things of this nature. That's just basically 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's math. It's practical, it's sensible, and it's predictable. Now, where things go, quote-unquote inflation is dropping across the planet. The Franks and Gauls are seeing better economic activity. In Roma, they're seeing better activity in terms of their economic scenario. However, combined, the economic improvements are not able to compensate for the drag from Deutschland. Deutschland is the economic engine of the EU, and their manufacturing is way down. Their exports are down. Exports to North-Amexem and out to the Far East. They're number 1 and 2 trading partners. As a result, they're having economic difficulty, if you would, in Deutschland. So Swamp City, or Berlin, as it's known, their boons might take a different look at how they're going to proceed over the next 18 months based on what they see with rising borrowing costs. So things can go a lot of ways. So if you got those particular trading blocks, if you would, hoping that the debt trappers bail them out again like they did the last time there was an economic downturn, they're in for a rude awakening on that one. Demand is not coming as they thought it would after the reopening, after the quote-unquote COVID shutdown in the Far East. The demand that they were hoping for is not there. Internal consumption is not there. Basically, they have well over 20% unemployment now, and the youth over there are doing the lie flat or the lay flat. They like let it all rot. Manufacturing is way down. Exports are way down. You had all those real estate ventures that fell apart over there. 31 provinces are it comprises that particular area. One of them is in the need for immediate bailout. 6 more behind them are looking for an immediate bailout. Electrical power is an issue for them. They built a couple of new dams looking to get more electrical power. So in certain places they have flooding, other places they're losing water supply. So they're being whipsawed, if you would. It's a mess. So Champa and Chenla and Harappa and Mandalay have been getting a lot of um, the manufacturing and other aspects of economy that had been lost out of the debt trappers. So they had been on the receiving end of their loss or losses. The dynamics are shifting rapidly. At the same time, though, you can still see particular harsh realities. Parties are playing games with folks' lives across the planet. So in Lusaka, they said, we didn't want to proceed with this particular dam that's being built by the debt trappers. They're looking to, well, they've already canceled. They're looking to replace uh, what they have done so far with the debt trappers. I want to see how that plays out, since the debt trappers have such a serious grip on Lusaka because they want the copper out of there. Hard reality. They have a hard grip in Harare also. And don't forget, Tanganyika years ago built that rail into Lusaka to get the copper out. And the debt trappers helped them back then because they wanted to have access. And then they made a deal between Tanganyika and the debt trappers to build a port. And then they changed leadership there. And when that happened, they discontinued the port construction with the debt trappers. Things didn't go so well. They went with their hat in hand back to the debt trappers, who started to resume working on that because of what they called the BRI, Built-in Road Initiative. So they wanted to complete that because they need that port for many reasons, but primarily to help get the resources out of landlocked areas so they can ship it back over to their lands to produce product. So the resources leave the Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu costing quote-unquote pennies and come back costing quote-unquote so-called dollars. And that's a mess. And it really has to stop. The manufacturing can be done in the Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu. As I said, things have to change. Because when they come in there to do the construction, the debt trappers only bring in their folks to do trade on the various infrastructure projects that they're working on. They don't hire any local talent. Their folks come over there and they behave badly. So what advantages and benefits are our folks getting by bringing them over there? Not much. Not much at all. Not much infrastructure gets built as a consequence of these things. So the youth get upset because they're looking to have a better quality of life and they're not getting it, but they see the resources going out. And they see parties of influence who basically took the bribes from the debt trappers. They're doing all right, while the masses don't. And what is allowed shall continue. Here in the North-Amexem, our kith and kindred, our brothers and sisters here, they're in a state of shock on certain things. On the one side, there's more of our kith and kindred doing trade. Some of them 2 and 3 trades, but they're doing trade. So they don't know quite what to do. And like, all right, I am not as bad as I could have been. I'm not doing great. I'm treading water, holding my own. So I'll continue to participate in a system that's basically toxifying and killing me. I hope to change it from within because they're just that delusional. While they're watching the neo version of Jim Crow steadily advancing, steadily digging in and permeating deeply and broadly. They participate in it and they fund it. They fund their own demise. They surrender their babies to the colonizing hostiles who are toxifying their bodies, putting drugs and irradiating the food that they eat, that they consume. And they wonder why their health is the way it is. The guardian gatekeepers for the colonizing hostiles, or as I call them, the melanated puppets, in the quote-unquote conscious community sector of those puppets, they work to keep our kith and kindred to quote-unquote work within that particular system and participate within that particular system instead of participating in their own. You cannot continue to cry and complain about what they do to you when you participate in it and when you fund it. You can't cry about it and then surrender your offspring to it. Again, they do this because they want to have access to trinkets and toys. And again, all across this planet, melanated men and women have gotten all types of talents and skills. Machinists, carpentry, welding, so on and so forth. They learned it through vocation training. They learned it in military service. It's in here. They can bring those talents and skills into our own system and deploy them inside of our own global economy. Again, you don't need their SWIFT system. You don't need their nonsense in their non-substance-based economies games, where they artificially create inflation to control what folks do. You have to bow down to the international banksters, but they love to do that. You don't have to bow down to the oil barons. They love to do that too. You don't have to bow down to the vax baron, who's now buying up all the farming land he can find, investing in all the pharmaceutical companies that make the vaccines. And so the vax baron has made the arrangements to get the vaccines into all the foods in one form or another, the flesh or the fruits and vegetables. And then you conveniently watch the fires. You conveniently watch the destruction of the food processing places. And it's supposed to be an accident, just like how every 5 minutes there's a quote-unquote school shooting. Don't happen nowhere else, just in North-Amexem. They'll keep doing it until folks say, all right, we'll give the quote-unquote guns. And then they will do what was done in Deutschland that preceded World War II, after they lose their guns. But our kith and kindred aren't the ones with the guns. And at the end of the day, who really cares about a gun anyway? The colonizing hostiles have strategy and tactics and things in their possession that can wipe out whole communities. Genetic weapons. They've been around for a long time now. They can put it in the water source and not harm anyone except those who have those enzymes. So when they did the last James Bond movie, they actually showed it. It's been around for 40, 50 Earth years now. But they came out and showed it. They tell folks to their face what they're going to do to them, and then they do it. And you would think that folks would catch on by now. All we can do is just be the example and provide the option to them. They either catch on, they catch up, or they don't. They cannot say that we don't speak to them if they approach us. But we just cannot compel them. They have to make that well-informed decision on their own.